Good time. Good evening, everyone. This evening is our monthly meeting of the Board of Adjustment. We are committed to a transparent process and encouragement of public comment during our meetings. We will be accepting testimony from all parties. If you wish to testify on any particular petition before us this evening using the Zoom platform, please use the raise hand feature. You can raise your hand at any time and we'll recognize you at the appropriate time for the presentation of evidence for each case. If in person this evening, please hand staff your speaker's card. Planner Robin Keefe will be moderating the hybrid meeting and will be asked to provide names of those individuals that wish to speak. I would like to call the meeting of the City of Wildwood's Board of Adjustment to order. The board members present today are Bob Morris, board member, Kevin Lux, board member, Mike Lee, board member, Arnie Sprunger, board member, and myself, Jared Frank, chair. The Department of Planning staff present is Joe Vunich, Director of Planning, and Robin Keefe, planner. City Attorney Sarah Rutherford and Court Reporter Courtney Tallman are also present on Zoom. First, I offer into the record the affidavit of publication pertaining to today's meeting, February 19th, 2026, and take official notice of the zoning ordinance of the City of Wildwood, including Chapter 400, Article 2, authorizing and establishing the Board of Adjustment's powers and duties. Now let me explain the hearing procedure. Please be aware the information I'm about to describe is also provided on the Board of Adjustment's public hearing procedure handout, which was available online and prior up to tonight's meeting. This hearing is informal in its nature. However, the meeting's proceedings will be recorded by reporter for future transcription if needed. The petitions are called in the order listed on the agenda. As the petition is called, I will ask a Department of Planning staff member to read each request into the record. Thereafter, the Department of Planning will have opening remarks and a brief slide presentation. Then the petitioner or his or her representative will be asked to state their name and address, be sworn in by the court reporter, and make a brief presentation to the board explaining the nature of the requested variance and present such evidence and witness testimony that may evidence the practical difficulties or unnecessary hardship that warrant the variance. The board will only consider the unique character of the property to determine whether they warrant the granting of a variance. The petitioner's presentation shall be limited to 15 minutes total, inclusive of any questions posed by the board, unless such time is extended by the chair. Board members may ask questions to clarify the facts of the petitioner's presentation. When the board is satisfied with the material presented by the petitioner, the chair will then ask if there is anyone present or online who would like to speak in favor or opposition to the requested variance. Each speaker will be asked to provide their name, address, be sworn in, and then provide their evidence in oral testimony. Witness testimony shall be limited to 5 minutes, inclusive of any questions posed by the board, unless such time is extended by the chair. Procedurally, the petitioner may request a continuance at any time during the hearing prior to a call for vote in order to bring in additional evidence or testimony. The board may also continue the proceedings. After the submission of testimony and evidence from all interested parties, the board will ask a staff member to provide the Department of Planning's report on this matter if requested by any member of the board, the petitioner, or any individual that is participating in person or online. Once all the witnesses have been heard, the chair will call for a motion to grant or deny, with or without conditions. Then the board will vote. At that time, the presentation of evidence relating to the petition is concluded and no further evidence will be permitted. The board may make a decision today. 4 members of the board must vote in favor of the variance for it to be approved. If a variance is approved, the petitioner has 6 months to obtain the necessary permits or establish the use, or it will expire. If the board's decision is unfavorable, the petitioner has the right to appeal to the St. Louis County Circuit Court. This appeal must be done within 30 days of the decision. Ms. Keefe, are there any questions at this time?
At this time, individuals online, if you wish to ask a question, please use the raise hand feature. Is there anyone in the audience? Mr. Chair, I see no raised hands.
The meeting will proceed. Please read the first request into the record, which will be followed by a brief slide presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, the first item on tonight's agenda is BA 31-25, Jared Ekman, 1128 Highway Route 109 Street, Wildwood, Missouri 6338, care of Dakota Longenecker, Blunier Builders, 205 Eastgate Drive, Washington, Illinois 61571. Request exceptions to the minimum yard requirements general and the accessory buildings and structure standards for the purpose of constructing a detached post-frame garage with covered porch upon the property being located at 1128 Highway Route 109 Street, locator number 21W340080, which would thereby authorize a side yard setback distance of 7 feet in lieu of 30 feet, an accessory structure with a square footage greater than 1.5% of the overall lot size, 3,100 square feet in lieu of 1,189.19 square feet. This request is contrary to the requirements of Chapter 415.090 NU Non-Urban Resident District Regulations of the City of Wildwood zoning ordinance. The single-family dwelling on the property was built circa 1918 and has been surveyed and is included in the City of Wildwood Historic Building Inventory. This age threshold does require the Historic Preservation Commission to consider this request as it is processed, given the structure is in excess of 75 years of age, and the proposed garage has the potential to impact its historic character. This particular property is located in Ward 3. And before Ms. Keefe starts the slide presentation, the department would like to enter into the record the following items. Chapter 400, Article 2 of the City of Wildwood Municipal Code, the Board of Adjustment. Chapter 415 of the same City of Wildwood Municipal Code, the zoning ordinance. The file that has been developed and maintained regarding this particular request and all contents contained therein, including the department's report with recommendation. And then finally, any testimony or evidence provided in support of tonight's hearing. Thank you.
Ms. Keefe, are the speakers on?
They, they should be.
Just sense. Can you hear everything okay? Everybody out there, hear everything okay? There's the buzz. Is that better? I think we're good. Yeah.
All right, Mr. Chair, members of the board, I'll go ahead and get started with this first request this evening. The subject site of this first request is located in northeastern Wildwood along Highway 109, just north of Garden Valley Drive. The subject lot has 155 feet of frontage along State Route 109, but it does have a significant depth to it as well at 506 feet. It is a legal non-conforming lot in the non-urban residence zoning district at 1.82 acres. This is an aerial of the lot. As you can see, this is the single family dwelling upon it, and this is an existing garage, and this is the neighboring residence. The single family dwelling was built circa 1918, according to the Wildwood Historic Building Survey. And then there is an existing two-car garage, as I just pointed out, that the petitioners are planning to demolish so that they can build a newer garage. The existing garage is currently 8.9 feet from the side yard or from the side property line. The applicant is requesting this evening to build a new detached garage, which would be substantially larger than the existing, but 15 feet back from where the existing garage is currently located. It will be 44 feet by 60 feet in area with an overall height of 22 feet. The non-urban residence zoning district does require a 30-foot side yard setback distance. And in this case, the petitioner is requesting 7 feet. The non-urban residence district also dictates how large accessory structures can be. Accessory structures on lots 5 or less in acres in size may be no more than 1.5% the overall lot size. And the intent of this zoning regulation is to maintain a certain scale and character of buildings. Because the dwelling on the property is in excess of 75 years of age, the Historic Preservation Commission is also required to consider the potential impact of this request, given that it may potentially impact the historic character of the property, particularly given the size of the proposed building and its proximity to the historic dwelling on the site. This dwelling, it should be noted, is not listed on the Wildwood Historic Register, so it is not protected by city ordinance. The only reason the Historic Preservation Commission is involved is because it is in excess of 75 years of age, so it's an age threshold that triggers that review. The property does have a limited slope to it, with the highest elevation at the front of the property and then descending towards the rear. It is mostly lawn with dispersed trees. This site map shows where all of the, we've already touched on this, but this is the site plan that shows the planned building in relation to the home and the property lines. So as you can see, they're requesting to be 7 feet from the side yard property line. They're showing that it's set back 15 feet from the existing garage. And it's going to be 241 feet from the front yard property line and 265 feet from the rear yard property line. This is the front elevation and a 3D rendering of the proposed building. This is what would face 109 as you're looking at the front of the residence. These are the elevations of the building. Again, this is the front elevation here. This is the rear elevation showing this covered porch area, which is calculated as part of the overall size of the building. And then this is the south side elevation, and this is the north side elevation. This is the floor plan. So here you can see the main building, and then this is the covered porch area. This is looking east from Highway 109 towards the front of the residence and the existing garage. So the new garage would be placed in this approximate location, but 15 feet back and just a little closer to that side yard property line. This is facing west towards 109. This is looking southwest towards 109. And this is looking northwest towards 109. This is looking north at the southern elevation of the existing dwelling. This is looking northwest towards its rear. This is looking south at the northern side elevation or facade. And this is south looking towards the neighboring residence. This is the petitioner's dwelling. This is the neighboring residence. This is looking southeast at the existing garage. This is looking southeast at the rear yard. These are a few structures that are still on the site. And this is looking southeast behind the existing garage. So this is the existing garage structure. And this is looking towards the neighboring dwelling. So this is the neighbor's dwelling, and this is the existing garage, to give you a sense of that placement. The Historic Preservation Commission, while considering this request, did visit the site on November 21st of 2025. At that site visit, they made a few comments regarding the architectural aspects of the proposed building. They suggested it should be white with a black roof to match with the house. They suggested the window on the front elevation should be increased in height to match the windows of the dwelling. And they suggested that adding trim around the windows and doors would be a cost-effective method of improving the building's appearance. However, they delayed any further action upon it until after the Historic Preservation Commission regular meeting, which took place December 4th of that same year. At that meeting, members offered comments, which were pretty wide-ranging. Some of them included that the siding should match the existing dwelling, particularly in its orientation. It was noted the garage was too close to the house. It was suggested that the structure should be smaller, perhaps eliminate the covered porch. And one member, a city council liaison, mentioned that a light colored roof would be better for energy efficiency. It was noted by a couple that the building was too big for the site and detrimental to the historic residents. It was suggested by our advisor, architect advisor, the building should be more barn-like in color versus white and black. It was suggested by a city council liaison that the building could be flipped and have the covered porch in front along with some landscaping. And again, it was noted that the building at present was out of scale and non-residential in appearance. However, there were a few members that noted that the building is set far back from Highway 109. A key consideration is neighbor support for it, which has been given. There was an understanding for the need for storage, given the lack of it in the historic home. And it was noted that there have been many modifications and additions to the existing dwelling on the site. So some felt that it wasn't under the HPC's purview to comment. The applicant and their representative also offered comments at that same meeting. It was noted that adjustments could be made to have the window match with the residents. There are a few options for trimming it out the window to match with the windows on the house. The structure could be moved back further on the lot, at least by another 5 feet. The siding would match with the home. And it was noted that the storage is available in the dwelling is very limited, and this garage is a needed amenity for the petitioner. So again, we summarized all of those comments in a report or in a memorandum that was provided to you this evening. So you're welcome to read that in depth, but it wasn't intended to represent a consensus. It was intended to summarize all the individual comments. The variance history having to do with the site. No previous variances have been granted to the subject property. Several setback reduction variances have been granted to properties along State Route 109. However, no size-related variances have been granted to properties along State Route 109. There is both support and opposition to the request. Notably, all of the abutting properties to the petitioner's property are in support of the variance request. There is a few individuals in support that are along Highway 109, and then there are a few individuals opposed within some of the nearby neighborhoods. And that concludes the department's introduction at this time. If you have any questions of Director Vunich or myself, we are happy to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Keefe. Any initial questions for the department? Okay. At this time, will the petitioner please come forward and state their name, address, relationship to this property, and we'll get you sworn in by the court reporter.
Hi, all. My name is Dakota Longnecker. On behalf of the Ekman family and Blunier Builders, I'm the project manager for this project. My address is 14 Sonnet Way Court, Wentzville, Missouri, 633-585.
Please raise your right hand.
We'll get you sworn in.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Please go ahead, Mr. Longnecker.
We all good. So two previously constructed accessory structures on the property were destroyed in a tornado. So the size of the building is somewhat for, a dilapidated garage that's already on the property and two missing structures that were there. The family has a large camper that they would like to store. And as we all know, neighboring units don't like to see the appeal of a camper sitting out front of the driveways. So having the proper storage for that and being able to use this building as a garage and have additional storage for what's lacking of an antiquated house is also necessary. The reason for the setback, 30 feet from the property line would move that building over. That would make it very difficult for a driveway to be placed to access that structure and park vehicles or such camper inside of it. Sliding it over to keep it in where that existing detached garage is pretty crucial to the property. And the safety of younger children. This is a growing family, so their view from the backside of their house, looking out their windows to the back, there's a significant slope that heads out to the east side that runs to Mr. Brian Johnson's property to the east. So keeping, good line of sight in the backyard is pretty imperative for this project. So scooting that building over allows that view, keep an eye on things and being able to see as much as they possibly can. Our site map had shown, Robin brought up a good point with the elevations and the contour lines that showed, but what that didn't show, and it shows more in our site map, is where that building is located. There's a significant space that goes back farther east. That's all dropping at a significant rate. You cannot see, it's pretty steep back there. The parcel is uniquely narrow. So sliding the building around in reference to where that house is, there's not a lot of great options for the size. The proposed placement includes the site functionality while maintaining site safe access, adequate separation from the neighboring properties, and appropriate yard space. In keeping with the historic means of the city of Wildwood, it's not out of the nature for these buildings, the historic buildings that I had submitted but didn't see on the slides, to be in this area. There's a lot of older homes that do have post frame structures right next to the house. And the reason for that in past years was primarily used for, livestock, ag, storage, and anything else you could probably think of. They use those buildings for in close proximity to their homes. So a building being close to the house, that is well within the keeping of the nature and historic nature of this community. Again, like Robin said, we have neighboring property owners that are in direct support of this project. Mr. Brian Johnson and his wife Susan, they own the property to the east and directly to the south. And then, we have direct support of the neighbor to the north and the west. So we would appreciate your guys' consideration for this project and the need for this family. And I'll have anything else at this time that the excellent would like to speak.
Yep. Coming up, we'll get you sworn in.
I guess before we start, these are the buildings, post frame buildings that we found that are in close proximity. That are as close to the house as within 15 feet. And these are historically protected homes. This one. Here's another one. It's close to the property. And again, it's close to the house, almost in a similar setup.
Good. Just state your name, relationship to the property, and then we'll get you sworn in as well.
My name is Jared Ekman. I'm the owner of the property at 1128 Highway 109.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Mr. Ekman.
Yeah, my name's Jared Ekman. I've been a 25-year resident, actually purchased the property. I was a kid, July of 2001. Got married a few years later. We now have 2 kids on the property. Wife and I have done a very good job keeping up the property, making it look better. The house looks great. The property looks great. We've lost all of our mature trees over time, replanted them all, which takes us up till June of this year. Tornado comes through, takes out, multiple big trees, completely takes out a 20 by 14 building, as well as significant damage to the current garage. Really, we just want to rebuild the garage. Yes, it's going to be a little bit bigger. Get rid of, instead of having 3 structures on the property, there was one that was still shown, one's completely gone. But demolish the current building, put it back in the exact same spot, but 15 feet back, so it looks better from the road, and build it a little bit bigger. The square footage, I know it says 3,100, and I understand you've got to include the porch. That's a little deceiving because part of that's the porch. I think the porch cosmetically adds a lot to the building, makes it look a whole lot better, softens it up. It's great for outdoor living as well. We spend a lot of time outdoors on the property. As has been said, by Robin and Dakota, the house, it's an older home. There's no basement for storage. There's no closet space is minimal. Yeah, so that's why we're asking. Just really space for the camper, space for vehicles is what we're looking for here.
Thank you, Mr. Ekman. Any questions for Mr. Ekman or Mr. Longnecker?
Yeah, you had mentioned that 2 of the buildings have been destroyed, and then the third one is the current garage, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know by chance, if you were to look at the square footage of those 3 buildings, how does that compare to the new structure that you're considering? And if you want to, you can leave the porch. I know the city can't leave it out, but in terms of the actual size of the building, the new building, how do they compare?
Are we at 2,800 on the
We're
current?
at 2,800 and the total of the other buildings are passing.
I'm sorry, I cannot hear.
Come on.
Sorry, I apologize. The current building is around 2,800 square feet, and then the other buildings are approximately 2,000 square feet.
I think the current build's 1,800 square feet. Is that accurate? The current garage is actually not within specs of the 1.5%. It's already over that. The current garage is to be demolished. The building that's gone, it was a 20 by 14. And the other one that's going to go is a 12 by 12. It's still standing, but there's significant damage. But
Okay.
I believe the current garage, I think it's 1,800 square foot. Yes.
Okay, so the new proposed garage is about 2,800 square feet. The current garage and the other 2 buildings is somewhere in the neighborhood of 2,000 or 1,800 or
2,100.
2,100. Okay, so the difference, you're adding 700 to 800 square feet in the actual building itself.
I believe so. Yes.
Does that sound right?
Yes.
And then however the porch is calculated. Okay, all right, thank you.
Quick question, and it might be for the city, I'm not sure, but there's been some discussion of the existing garage, but there was a comment that no previous variance had been granted and the garage is currently in the setback. So how did that
Right.
come to be? What year was it built? Any details you can provide on how we got there? Or maybe the city can answer.
I purchased the property in July of 2001. It was there. My understanding, it was 1976, I believe. It was built.
Before the setbacks. Yeah.
And Mr. Lux, just remember, prior to Wildwoods Incorporation, the side yard setback was 20 feet. And the construction and the type of structure, I believe that particular outbuilding's been there for a pretty long time.
Any other questions for the petitioner or his representative? Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank
This time, we'll open the floor to speakers in the audience who may want to speak in favor or opposition to the request. As a reminder, each speaker has 5 minutes to present, inclusive of the board's questions, unless the chair allows additional time.
I am Brian Johnson. I live at 17820 Blum Park Road, which is directly behind Jared's house.
Sorry, just a moment.
Sorry. It's fine.
Yeah, he's just given his address in relationship to the property, and then we'll get him sworn in. Sorry, Mr. Johnson, go ahead.
sorry.
Yeah.
And I also own the property that is directly to the south, that's on the affected property line.
We'll get you sworn in here, Mr. Johnson.
Okay, do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Please proceed.
So the only thing I wanted to say is basically reinforce what Jared's already stated, and that there is an existing garage on there that's already over the required new Wildwood, I guess, regulations for that. And he is essentially building one, and he's building one essentially in the exact same spot, just moved back slightly. So the current one is needs to be repaired and replaced. And, I guess from my point of view, it's already, 8 feet off the property line now. It doesn't bother me if it stays that way. So it is a very narrow piece of property. So as they said, it really needs to be pushed to the side as much as possible. But, in my other opinion is that I don't think it has much impact on the historical viewpoint of this thing, especially in lieu of the fact that it's almost 250 feet from Highway 109. So most people won't even notice it while they go by, but the house itself, I've been in it numerous times. It doesn't represent anything from 1918. So I don't want people to get that opinion that this is some great historical find, but it's not. Sorry. That's all. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Johnson? Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Any other speakers in the audience or online that would like to speak in favor or opposition to this request?
Dakota again. We have a video of passing from 109. This was taken at about 30 to 35 miles an hour under the speed limit. And just to give a feel for what the current property looks like as you're driving by, in consideration for pass through traffic going down the road. As you'll notice, it's about 3 seconds that maybe you see it. The project is kind of protected with that pine tree that's sitting there. You really don't see that impact, and the building is going farther back. Our sidewalls are so tall to the peak, it is about 22 feet. So I just wanted to say that, this video here just kind of gives you a feel for what it may look like.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you for
I have a
that.
question for you. In your discussion with your client about building the structure, did you consider something that's maybe a little bit smaller, something closer to the combined square footage of what you had before?
Yes. So after the historic committee, this was originally planned to be a 44 by 68 building, with the same height. And we ended up reducing the size to a 44 by 60 to reduce that and try to meet some common ground and kind of come into compliance on that aspect.
Okay, thank you.
We have another speaker, Ms. Keith. I'm sorry. Thought you wanted to speak as well. Any other speakers that want to speak? Go ahead, Mr. Ekman.
I guess I was gonna add in, as far as landscaping, we do intend to, once the building's completed, to put in more trees, shrubs. We'd be open to discussion on that as well, particularly on the south side of the building. So that's gonna happen regardless.
How tall did you say your new structure is going to be?
That would be 22 feet. 22,
22 feet.
yes.
And the current garage is how tall? With the feet?
Yeah, I'm not 100% on that.
Okay, so the new structure is going to be a bit taller.
Yes,
Okay, all right. Thank you.
thank you.
Mr. Ekman, is that for the camper? I assume the height is needed.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
To accommodate a 12-foot door, yes.
For the sake of the court reporter, we were hearing numbers like, 13 to 16 feet from the audience members.
Any other questions or any other speakers, Ms. Keith, in the audience or in the online?
At this time, if there are any attendees online who would like to speak, please use the raise hand feature. Mr. Chair, I see no more speakers. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional questions for anybody who's spoken? Seeing none, would anyone like to hear the oral presentation of the department's report? Seeing none. Any other final comments from the department?
Yes, Mr. Chair, members of the board. While the department would like to acknowledge that the petitioners have taken some of the feedback from the Historic Preservation Commission and reduced the size of their proposed building, it is still twice the size, even without the porch calculated into it, of what is permitted on any lot under 5 acres, with the lot already being substandard in the non-urban residence district. No other lots along Highway 109 have been approved for such a size variance. And this is typically because these size variances, when they have been approved, have been for lots where they were pretty shielded from impacting a larger area or community. They're usually pretty far back in the lot and somewhat hidden from view. We'd like to note that the petitioner can still build a garage up to 1,189 square feet. So by not granting this variance, we aren't preventing the petitioner from building such a structure that would help them with some of their storage concerns. We are concerned that the placement of such a large structure with this height of 22 feet close to the neighboring dwelling and also close to the petitioner's dwelling, that we're creating a massing of structures in that area. Whereas Highway 109 is fairly well known for its rural character as you drive down the route. Finally, we would like to just mention that typically when we do grant variances to structures of this kind, we do so under the requirement that they match with the existing dwelling in material and design. And in this case, we'd be especially concerned about that given the high impact from Highway 109, let alone whether or not you want to argue that the house is historic in nature. The applicants and their representative did make several assertions at the Historic Preservation Commission meeting that there are ways to modify their existing design to match more in character with the existing dwelling. However, those modifications are not in place as it's presented today. So with that said, again, the department is not supporting the variance as it is currently with the current information that's provided. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Keefe. Comments, questions, any final thoughts?
A couple questions. So if we could pull up the site map, curious as to how far off the setback it looks like the front entry of the house is, because it looks like it's close to 30 feet itself. And I guess where I'm going with that is if the garage was even of the size that you would say is permissible, if they were to move it off the setback, my thinking is that it would be almost directly behind the house. Is that correct? So that really they have no choice but to be in the side setback in order to even have a driveway approach it? I guess I'm just trying to understand what their option would be to comply with the setback requirement, regardless of the size of the structure.
Mr. Lux, I believe they would have to shift the outbuilding to the east or the rear of the lot a distance, then shift to the north to adhere to either the 30-foot setback or some reduction in that 30-foot setback. So it's going to move further away from the house.
So the, if they said, you know, we want to just rebuild the existing garage because it's kind of worn out, fallen down, so forth, they couldn't, if I understand this right, they couldn't even rebuild their current garage in the very same location as it is right now because it would be in the 30-foot setback. Is that right?
Mr. Spangler, the way we treat non-conforming structures that are placed in the setback, as long as they're not expanding it or for a simpler way, increasing the footprint, we do allow it.
You do allow the very same size.
Correct. We do this often with decks. The county's requirements for rear yard decks our rear yard areas for decks was 15 feet, ours is 30. So we come across this quite a bit. But if you're just replacing, we accommodate it.
And so in this case, the additional encroachment's 1.5 feet over what the existing structure was, except for whatever additional volume in the back.
Again, from the department's perspective, I think Ms. Keefe and I looked at the fact that it is a substandard lot in terms of size, but it is still almost 2 acres. And we're looking at a structure that's about 3,100 square feet in size. So the thought was, obviously, convenience is key. Having it near the home so you can park your car and not walk a mile in the pouring rain would be an advantage to the property owners, certainly. So from the department's perspective, the 7-foot distance is really a difficult one to support. And is there a distance that's less than 30 feet? Probably, but we weren't offered anything to look at.
Okay, and then my final question was going to be, we heard about the commentary from the historical panel. Seemed to me that there were some very contradictory statements within that. So if your commentary is that you would want them to do something more in line with the existing dwelling and that sort of thing, do you guys have an opinion on what standard that would be versus the differing commentary? Or is that something that needs to be flushed out? Or how would they even know where to go from here with what's already transpired?
Well, Ms. Keefe is our expert on historic preservation, so I won't delve into that. Of the two components of the variance, from the director's perspective, not necessarily the city's, but the director's perspective, the size component is the least onerous of the two. I understand. We get complaints from neighbors all the time that people don't have their toters in the garage and they're visible from the street. And so we go visit the property, talk to the owners, and when they open up their garage, there's all kinds of stuff in there besides cars. And so they don't have room. So storage is key, and we understand that. It's just, again, it falls back to the second component of the variance, and that's the setback. 7 feet is minimal. In some instances, you can get a fairly large mower through there, but it's pretty tight. if you put up a ladder and you try to get to the top of the roof, the ladder has to be pushed out some. It's like I say, it's just a very, very limited distance for a structure of this size. And depending on the sun's travel from east to west, it could shade that area as well, which is part of the reason there is setbacks. It all started in New York City because of tenements and the lack of light and air. So I think Ms. Keefe and I are trying to recognize that Mr. Johnson owns the property, but he may not own it forever. And it's part of our responsibility, both the board and the department, to ensure we do the right thing the first time. Thank you.
Is there, is the setback the primary issue, or the size of the building the primary issue, or are they both the primary?
Two components. And again, from the department's perspective, the building size, it's a almost 2-acre lot. It's 3,100 square feet. I think it could work. But again, in conjunction with the setback variance, it's just it steps over what the department felt was reasonable.
A little too much to take, huh? So what I find interesting too is if they're able to rebuild and stay in compliance with the city, they actually decrease the amount of square footage that they have in their storage facilities, which seems a little tough, you know. So what I would wonder is, you know, from the department's perspective, if they could maybe move the building over just even a few more feet, you know, instead of being 7 feet off the line, if they're 10 feet off the line or 12 feet off the line, you know, does that influence the department's perspective at all? If they could make some adjustments like that.
Well, at least from the director's position, we've already gone on record saying the size isn't necessarily the key component here that led to the recommendation for denial. So if there is a distance that the Board of Adjustment feels is reasonable beyond 7 feet, the department certainly would accept that if it's part of a motion.
I don't know if it'd be too late to bring back the petitioner, but I'd be curious to hear from them as to why 7 feet is the magic number versus 10, 11, if there's any flexibility there, just so that we can understand, because if we're given an ultimatum of 7 or nothing, that would be a little tougher than maybe there's some other options in there. So any thoughts or opinion on that?
Yes, sir. With maneuvering a camper and a truck to maneuver through there, it's awfully tight. My sidewall distance going to the end wall to the door opening, you know, it has a significant role. There is a space there that I need from the corner of the building to the start of that overhead door. So 7 feet was nice to kind of keep in line with what they currently have with the driveway to limit the additional site work, you know, needed to get them to the building. And I wanted to make mention to Joe's point of casting shadows, a scary large building being put here. To that notion, you know, this building is of size, large. I would argue that it is.
I lost sound.
Yes, I also lost sound. They kicked us out.
I think so.
Oh no.
You have their up there.
Oh, there we go.
Mhm.
Courtney, where did we leave off, or when did we lose you?
where he said, I would argue that it is. I think he was talking about casting shadows in a scary large building.
Okay, so to continue on
Yeah.
that point, that building is of some size, and that's to perspective. It being very large, I would argue that that building is not a large structure. But to Mr. Joe's point of casting shadows, as Midwesterners, we all know in the long winter months, the sun is set back into the southern hemisphere, going from left to right, east to west, that we are not casting shadows into that neighboring property that Mr. Johnson may or may not own in the future. The shadow would be more casted throughout the year farther to the north and less of an effect. And also piggybacking off of Mr. Joe's statement of Robbins, the historic committee and the barn siding not being the same to match a historic home. Neighboring properties around this area, barns and houses have historically been known to not have the same siding. They're not ran the same direction. On the Ekman's home, they have siding running vertical and horizontal. They have taken aspects of a trimmed header going across the gable of the truss, the bottom chord gable truss, that is replicated to the house to bring those aspects into it. Now, because of my sheeting material, as barn tin, steel, whatever you want to call it, the windows that we set, we're not limited to setting a nail flange style window, or we typically, for owners, being mindful of owners, an easy V set window reduces labor costs. It improves efficiency with post frame structures, and there is a trim that is that resembles a residential style trim that you may see on some homes. Whether or not you have siding that might be slightly different with the J channel. I just want to bring some of those. I hope I answered your question, Mr. Arnie.
Well, actually, no.
Okay.
I guess what I'm trying to get an understanding of is, could the petitioner live with a building that was shifted somewhat to provide more than a 7-foot setback?
Okay.
Could they go to 10 or 15?
Right. So in consideration and placement of the proposed structure, as you'll notice on the east end wall, there's another overhead door. And the thought is, because of the limited maneuverability coming off 109 on the west side, that in the future, they could add a wraparound drive of the building to exit. And that way that vehicle, that camper, is maintaining forward heading at all times for better maneuverability.
Correct. Yes, we
Go
would
ahead,
love
Mr. Ekman.
7 feet, and for a variety of reasons.
One thing we had discussed, if you could go to the site map, slide 9. Originally, this building was going to be squared off the end wall of the existing house. And in talks with Mr. Ekman, we decided to run parallel with the property line so that is pulled farther away, and he would have even more maneuverability around and get around there and have a bigger opening to maneuver that camper and make better use of a narrow lot.
Yeah, I understand that you would love to have a 7-foot setback. You might even want a 2-foot setback, give you more maneuverability. But I think my question, I'm still not sure I got the answer, is, if could you live with a 10 or 15-foot setback? Or is it like, no, if I can't have a 7-foot setback,
No, we could,
we're not going to build it.
we could live with 10.
I think with a 10, that would take our building corner and move it slightly, but I think we gained enough additional room when we decided to ultimately square the building along the property line. So if 10 was common ground, I think we would still be farther away than we originally were squaring it to the house.
There is, if you leave the driveway and you're looking west, there's a similar sized building. I don't know, I believe the height of it is taller than what we're asking for, but it's a similar sized building directly across from us. So that kind of, we took that into consideration as well.
1137 Highway 109 or 1133 is the same owner, the same parts. I think it's the same parcel.
Correct.
Two different addresses.
The structure that you see just below the one of the 112 there, that's one of that's going away. Is that correct? You were going to demolish, I think you said, Mr. Eckman.
Just under the 112 is gone currently. That is gone. Yeah, half of that was leveled, up to the right of the 112 that's the 12 by 12 that would also be gone. It
Gotcha.
sustained some damage as well.
My thought there was that if you were to shift it just a few feet, the porch isn't an issue with that building because it's no longer there. So,
Right, right.
Correct.
So you're getting rid of all the other buildings, the existing garage and the one that's still standing.
Yeah.
And just replacing it then with this one.
Right.
It's a little bit bigger, but, yeah. Okay.
And Blunier Builders, they build really nice stuff. We took several months to kind of go with them. We had made that decision by the, late August, early September. So there's, significant, no offense, significant expense with them versus another maybe cheaper builder, but we want the look to be correct. So it's a white building, black roof. It will
Although
complement the house.
Blunier Builders may be new to Missouri as of the last 2 years. We're not new to this industry. And we are a premier post frame company that general contracts everything from ag shops to commercial to barn dominiums is the new craze. We directly employ our employees. They are Blunier employees, so we have direct control over quality standards. We self-perform our own site work, our foundations. We have our own pier and bracket system that we have manufactured. It is not a permacolumn, and we do not put posts in the ground. So we're not dealing with the rotting and issues that see standard. We use composite splash boards, so pretty much anything touching the ground. We care about customer experience and longevity of our buildings. Uplift is a big thing with post frame buildings or smaller structures. So belling, our sidewalls and where our post columns, anchor into our stainless steel brackets. Those are belled into the ground, meaning that pier drops down and gets a wider footprint at the bottom. In the event of high winds, tornadoes, things of that nature, these buildings do like to pressurize. When a failure to a sliding door or any type of door happens, those buildings like to lift. Our buildings don't like to.
So I don't think there's a question of competency and that sort of thing. Architectural design review will happen and all that separately from our process tonight. So I guess what I would like to, so what I would like to ask is the challenge we have here is that based on the petition that was presented, we were given a 7-foot setback, and it seems like there's some questions about landscaping and matching materials and that sort of thing. And maybe there is some flexibility in 7 or 10 feet on the setback. So the issue we're going to have here tonight is we've got to vote on what was presented, as opposed to you guys having the opportunity to maybe clarify some things with the city and then maybe come back in 30 days with a revised proposal that might be a little bit more flexible or work a little and maybe get approval from the city somehow or some further refinement. So, I think we're in a position now where we can probably make a decision tonight based on what we have in front of us, or there's always the opportunity to maybe take a step back on you guys' end if you want to work with the city some more. So, if we are forced to vote tonight based on what we have in front of us, is there any other information you think you have or that would be relevant so that we could make a decision tonight? Or is there another way you guys might want to go with that?
You'd like to make that 7 a 10?
Well, Board Member Lux, and maybe the department can clarify that, but I think we do have the ability, if we so choose.
We do.
To say,
We do.
we would change that. It would be conditioned upon that.
I'm just trying to think of all the various contingencies that would also have to be included based on other commentary if we were going to consider something like that. So
Oh, you mean like maybe matching material,
exactly.
things of that nature?
Yeah, because we don't have clarity on any of that. So it would be difficult to issue a contingency to address, I think, everything that we're hearing in front of us. But again, that's my perspective.
Mhm.
Not saying it can't be done, but
Contingent on a 10-foot setback. I think, Mr. the Ekman family would be in agreement here tonight with that. Changing of the materials obviously may provide added costs, and that would be something that we could definitely look into, although that may take, a week or two or something, but that does bring maybe some added costs to the scopes. Just like to be mindful.
yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah. Either for better or for worse, cost is not really a consideration for the board, but
I think what
yeah,
Dakota was saying is they couldn't make that decision tonight.
yeah,
Is what,
right.
regardless
It
of
would
Garrett's
be-
and I understand that.
So would you prefer having a little bit more time to revisit some of this? Or do you want to try and push forward here and see if the board can put the because we may put a contingency on, if we did that, you could have a contingency that all of a sudden impacted your costs such that you're not so sure you want to do this anymore. So how do you want to play that?
Contingent on, a 10-foot setback.
And
I think that would be,
it possibly contingent upon landscape design, we would be for that. 30 days puts, obviously them out and presents a little bit of a hardship. I definitely see where you're coming from.
Wanted to ask Robin if she could pull up the photos of the house because there's multiple sightings on this house. I mean, what are you going to pick? One or the other? You got, shiplap, you've got that, and you've got a shingle sighting, I think, on some of it.
Yeah, that would be the challenge is what I'm saying. So I don't know that that's within our purview anyway, given the
Yeah.
historical committee's commentary already. So I'm just trying to,
Yeah, I don't see that as an issue myself, what they're proposing, as far as sighting.
The board and batten on the house is very close, within an inch or so of the metal being used on the building. It's a really good look.
that
My wife made sure that we had it really close.
there was
do that.
considerable
Yeah, I-
consideration from Mrs. Ekman on this building. That board that is used between those two windows, that is replicated in our building. There's a wrapped, it's simply a wrapped board to be very similar to that aspect. So consideration of the house was taken into the design, soffit, the roofing colors, soffit fascia, and obviously roof steel were to match. Downspouts are going to be similar. So
Same color. Yeah, soft fascia, downspouts, roof, everything.
And just a point of clarification, there is no attached garage space at all, correct?
No,
Yeah,
Correct.
that's worth noting when you consider size and, there is no, we've seen 4 and 5 car combination of both. And, I just want to point that out. There is no attached garage space. Any other thoughts, questions, comments? Hey, gentlemen. Any other final comments from the department based on the discussion? Okay. At this time, we'll close the proceeding for a vote. Can I have a motion to approve, a motion to deny, or to approve with conditions?
Well, I'll make a motion to approve with the following conditions, that there is a minimum of a 10-foot setback and there's an approved landscape plan.
Do we have a second on Mr. Sprunger's motion to approve with the conditions as he stated?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. Mr. Morris, how do you vote? Mr. Lux, how do you vote?
Approve.
Mr. Lee,
Approve.
Mr. Sprunger,
Approve.
and I approve as well with the conditions as stated. Congratulations, your variance is approved as stated. Thank you.
Good luck.
We'll move right into the second case. The department will please read that.
Yes, Mr. Chair. BA 4-26, Tom Zenny, 10 Foxview Lane, Wildwood, Missouri, 63069, request an exception to the minimum yard requirements general for the purpose of constructing an attached two-car garage upon the property being located at 10 Foxview Lane, locator number 28Y 220064, Foxview subdivision lot 3, which would thereby authorize a front yard setback distance at 48 feet in lieu of 50 feet from the private roadway easement. This request is contrary to the requirements of Chapter 415.090 NU Non-Urban Resident District Regulations of the City of Wildwood's zoning ordinance. An identical request was granted by the Board of Adjustment on July 17th, 2025, but expired on January 17th, 2026. This particular property is located in Ward 6. And again, before Ms. Keefe begins her presentation, the department would like to introduce into the record Chapter 400, Article 2 of the City of Wildwood Municipal Code, the Board of Adjustment, Chapter 415 of the same City of Wildwood Municipal Code, the zoning ordinance, the file that has been developed and maintained by the Department of Planning regarding this particular request and all contents contained therein, including the department's report with recommendation, and then finally, any testimony or evidence that are offered as part of tonight's proceedings. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Director Mulich. Ms. Keefe?
Mr. Chair, members of the board, our second case this evening has been seen by this board just last year. However, the petitioner is back requesting an extension due to some delays with the engaged architect for the project. The subject lot is 3.16 acres in size and located in the Foxview subdivision in far western Wildwood, just off Fox Creek Road. The lots in this subdivision are served by Foxview Lane, a 50-foot wide gravel private roadway with significant slope ascending from Fox Creek Road. The lot is occupied by a single-family dwelling built in 1990. It is one story and has 1,387 total square feet of total living area, with an attached two-car garage and a wooden deck. There is a gravel drive with two ingress-egress points serving the residents. The lower drive loops in a circle. You can see that in this aerial here. And serves the attached garage, and then the upper drive is separate and serves the residents only. The lot is non-urban residence district and has a 50-foot front yard setback associated with it. The lot is steeply sloped with the property ascending from its far western corner to its northeastern corner. So it's on a hill. And in fact, the single family dwelling is embedded into the hillside. There is a total relief on the property of 130 feet. It is heavily wooded, though the trees do thin out around the dwelling. And again, the home is embedded into the hillside. Here is the site plan submitted by the petitioner. The petitioner is proposing to build an attached two-car garage with an associated stairwell to the lower garage which requires a 2-foot variance from the required front yard setback distance. It will be positioned on an existing gravel surface, requiring minimal disturbance to the unimproved portions of the lot. So here you can see the 50-foot setback line, just the corner of this garage is over that line. This is the existing residence, and the garage will adjoin with the present attached garage in that existing gravel area. The garage will be 859 square feet in area. And these are the preliminary elevations. This is the existing dwelling, looking northeast from that lower gravel driveway area. This is looking southwest at Fox View Lane. Again, it's also gravel. And then this is looking northeast of Fox View Lane. So there is a significant slope here. This is looking northwest towards the present existing attached garage. This is a closer view of it in that area. So the new garage would extend into this gravel turnaround area. This is looking northwest. Here you can see how it's embedded into the hill, and so it would be partially shielded by it. And then again, just giving you a sense of the slope here. So this is from the upper driveway, looking at the existing dwelling. This is looking southwest. This is looking north. And from this upper area, this is looking north. And this is also north. This is looking southwest. Here you can see that lower driveway area. And this is looking northeast. And looking southeast. There have been 2 written comments in support, including the neighbor just to the north. One variance has previously been granted to a property in this subdivision for that same neighbor who received a front yard setback variance of 25 feet to build a single family dwelling. And that concludes my presentation at this time. If you have any questions of the department, Director Bunich and I are available to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Keefe. Any initial questions for the department? At this time, will the petitioner please come forward, state his or her name, address in relation to this property, and we'll get you sworn in by the court reporter.
Yeah, my name is Bill McCreary, and I'm a caretaker for Tom. I'm representing him tonight. He's working in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Perfect. We'll get your address and then we'll get you sworn in.
10 Foxview Lane, Wildwood, Missouri, 63069.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. McCreary, if you could please explain the nature of the request of the hardship or practical difficulty necessitating the variance. As a reminder, you have 15 minutes to present, inclusive of the board's questions, unless the chair allows additional time.
Yeah, it won't take that long. Essentially, to get the 2-car garage on, and get the stairs to work for, it pushed him over the limit 1 foot and 11 inches. And, to boil it down, that's it, so I don't know. I'm sure there would have been like a variety of ways to do it. But I know that every time they looked at it, it just made the garage get smaller and smaller. And we all know that a tight garage is not good. And so that's how we ended up out that far, was making all the stairwells work right. And you're right, it is a steep lot, and that kind of has a little bit to do with why he's doing a 2-level garage now.
And it appears that the nearest structure is a good ways away, a couple 100 feet, I think the department said.
You can barely see another house in the winter, and that's Chris up the hill that I think gave his letter of approval.
Yep. Okay.
And identical to the prior request for variance, no change in circumstances, no nothing.
No,
It's just time expired.
Same. Yeah, they just, I think, ran into a variety of opinions on engineering and architecture, and so he ran out of time.
All right. Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. McCreary? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any speakers in the audience? Well, first, any board members' questions for the department or the petitioner as of yet? I answered that already. Any speakers in the audience that may want to speak in favor or opposition to this request? Ms. Keefe?
Mr. Chair, I have no speakers cards, and it looks like the individuals online have to do with other applications.
All right. Would anybody like to hear the department's report via oral presentation? Seeing none. Department like to make any final comments?
Mr. Chair, members of the board, I'll keep this brief. We're talking about a 2-foot variance with just the corner. It's a very minimal impact, especially given the isolated nature of where this lot is located. And clearly there's significant topography to deal with as well. And it's basically shielded just by nature of how it's embedded into the hillside. Thank you. We do support it.
Thank you. Any final comments from the board? All right. We'll close the proceeding for a vote. Can I have a motion to approve, a motion to deny, or a motion to approve with conditions?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Lux. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Morris. Mr. Morris, how do you vote?
Approve.
Mr. Lux?
Approve.
Mr. Lee?
Approve.
Mr. Sprunger?
Approve.
And I approve as well. Congratulations. Your variance is approved as submitted. Thank you. Next garage.
It's a big night for garages, huh? The third item on our agenda tonight is BA 5-26, Kathleen Pullman, 18741, Etherton Valley Road, Wildwood, Missouri, 63005. Request an exception to the minimum yard requirements general for the purpose of constructing a 34-foot by 28-foot addition to an existing detached garage being upon the property located at 18741 Etherton Valley Road, locator number 19W520061, Etherton Valley Subdivision Lot 3, which would thereby authorize a side yard setback distance of 23 feet in lieu of 30 feet from the subject property line. This request is contrary to the requirements of Chapter 415.090 NU Non-Urban Resident District Regulations of the Wildwood Zoning Ordinance. This particular property is located in Ward 3. And again, before Ms. Keefe begins her presentation, the department would like to enter into the record the following items. Chapter 400, Article 2 of the City of Wildwood Municipal Code, Board of Adjustment. Chapter 415 of the same City of Wildwood Municipal Code, the zoning ordinance, the file that has been developed and maintained by the Department of Planning regarding this particular request, and all contents contained therein, including the department's report with recommendation. And then finally, Mr. Chair, any testimony or evidence that is provided as part of tonight's hearing. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Munich. Ms. Keefe?
All right, Mr. Chair, members of the board, our next case this evening involves a subject site that is 3.11 acres in size and located in the Etherton Valley subdivision, which is located in northeastern Wildwood, close to the Orville Historic Community, just south of Wild Horse Creek Road. This subdivision was approved in 1978 by St. Louis County and consists of 21 lots, all which are 3 acres or greater in size. The subject property is located on the north side of Etherton Valley Road, which is a 50-foot wide private roadway maintained by the Homeowners Association. It's occupied by a single-family dwelling that is 1 story, and it was built in 1978 with 1,866 square feet of total living area. Other improvements include a detached garage, which is 1,089 square feet in size, and a circular driveway. The lot is zoned non-urban residence district, which requires a 50-foot front yard setback and a 30-foot side yard setback distance. The lot does have varied topography with its highest elevation at the southeastern corner towards the front of the lot, and then descending northwest towards the rear of the property, or like northeast actually. There is 78 feet of overall relief. The lot is heavily wooded with lawn area in front and dispersed trees. Here is the existing garage. This is the existing detached garage, and this is the existing dwelling. The proposed garage is here in light blue. You might notice that the existing garage is 25 feet off the side yard setback line, and that is due to St. Louis County having a 20-foot side yard setback, while City of Wildwood has a 30-foot for its non-urban residence district. So we already have a garage that's kind of in that side yard setback area. The petitioners are asking to construct or to expand the existing garage by 952 square feet and placing it in the front of the existing. And it will be served by the existing driveway. The expanded portion will be 23 feet off the side yard property line. The new addition is to match with the existing, and this is the southern elevation of it. This is the northern elevation. This is the eastern elevation. And this is the western elevation. This is looking at the front of the dwelling and the detached garage looking north. This is the neighbor across the street looking south. This is looking east on Etherton Valley Road. And this is looking west. This is looking northeast into the front yard of the subject lot. This is looking northwest towards the detached garage. This is looking northeast. This is standing back where the detached garage is located and looking towards Etherton Valley Road, looking southwest. So you can see you're kind of sunk down into the lot. This is looking west behind the structure. This is looking north at the topography just behind the residence and detached garage. This is looking south, again, giving you a sense of how far you're back into the lot. And this is looking west into the area of the proposed addition. There have been 5 total setback variances approved in the same subdivision, with 2 variances for the same lot. So you can see where those are located here. And there is public support for the request. Emails have been submitted from all of the most affected neighbors, and the HOA has also given their support and approval. At this time, I'll conclude my presentation, and if you have any questions of the department, we're available to answer them.
Thank you, Ms. Keefe. Any initial questions for the department? Okay. Will the petitioner please come forward, state his or her name, address, relationship to the property, and we'll get you sworn in.
Yeah, I'm on the Zoom. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Okay.
Please state your name. Go ahead.
Gary Pillman. We live at 18741 Etherton Valley, Road 63005. The address of the petition.
Just raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Mr. Pullman, if you will, please explain the nature of the request and the hardship or practical difficulty necessitating this variance. As a reminder, you have 15 minutes to present, inclusive of the board's questions, unless the chair allows additional time. Floor is yours.
The request is for an extension to the existing detached garage. As you could see, several other areas were examined on the property to build a garage, but were not feasible because of the lay of the property and where they'd have to be built, and cost involved in foundations because of that, the grade elevations. This would be the best, and it can't be moved west. I mean, it can't be moved east any further because our driveway is there, and I'm kind of trapped in between that point and the property line. The original subdivision, as was stated earlier, had a 20-foot setback, and that detached garage was built and approved by county before the city of Wildwood existed. We would now like to extend that and conform with 23 feet from the property line, so we can build that garage and still get out, because the driveway is sloped right at the corner and it kind of falls right in that area. That's about all I can. And we're going to match the existing siding and everything to the garage. The shingles and everything will be matched.
I saw a note about the trees. Can you speak to any tree removal that would be necessary?
Well, there were several trees that had ash tree and elm trees that have been killed by insects or the elm disease, and they were cut down. They're not completely removed yet, but they were dead to the point we had to cut those down anyway because they were high enough they could fall on the existing garage. But there will be no more trees taken out other than the ones that were already dead.
Yeah. Anybody have any questions for the petitioner? Okay, thank you, Mr. Pullman.
Thank you.
Any speakers in the audience, Ms. Keefe, online that would speak in favor or opposition to this request?
At this time, if anyone would like to speak for this request, please use the raise hand feature. It looks like we don't have any individuals online. Anyone in the audience? Mr. Chair, we have no speakers.
Okay. Seeing none, would anybody like the opportunity to hear an oral presentation of the department's report? Seeing none, any final comments by the department?
Mr. Chair, members of the board, the department is supporting this request. We do see a practical difficulty to the petitioner and that the existing garage is located where it is due to St. Louis County setback distances. So it's logical that would affect the addition as well. We're supportive of the fact that the addition is in an already improved space. We're not having to disturb other areas of the site, which do have, more challenging topography to deal with. The variance is relatively minimal and the neighbors and HOA are in support. Thank you.
Any other final comments or questions, board? Thank you, Ms. Keefe. This time we'll close the proceeding for a vote. Can I have a motion to approve, a motion to deny, or a motion to approve with conditions?
I'll motion to approve.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Lux and Mr. Lee. Mr. Morris, how do you vote?
Approve.
Mr. Lux,
Approve.
Mr. Morris, or I'm sorry, Mr. Lee,
Approve.
Mr. Sprunger,
Approve.
and I approve as well. Congratulations, your variance is approved.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hartman, please proceed with I believe the final petition for this evening. Is that correct?
Yes, Mr. Chair, the final petition on tonight's agenda is BA 6-26 Selma and Taft Davis, 18459 Hinkin Valley Estates Drive, Wildwood, Missouri, 63069, requests an exception to the natural resource protection requirements for the purpose of constructing a new 3-car detached garage, a building determined by the zoning ordinance, totaling 864 square feet in area, with such being located upon the property at 18459 Hinkin Valley Estates Drive, locator number 26X 120161, Hinkin Valley Estates Re-subdivision, Lot 11, which would authorize its construction within the 25-foot foundation setback area from the natural resource protection area of the lot, but not within the 100% protected area itself. This request is contrary to the requirements of Chapter 420.200 Natural Resource Protection Standards and Procedures of the Subdivision and Development Regulations of the City of Wildwood Municipal Code as applied to property located in the NU Non-Urban Resident District and Chapter 415.090 NU Non-Urban Resident District Regulations of the Wildwood Zoning Ordinance. This particular property is located in Ward 6. And again, before Ms. Keefe begins her presentation, the department would like to introduce into the record the following items. Chapter 400, Article 2 of the City of Wildwood Municipal Code, Board of Adjustment. Chapter 415 of the same City of Wildwood Municipal Code, the zoning ordinance. The file that has been developed and maintained by the Department of Planning regarding this particular request and all contents contained therein, including the department's report with recommendation. And then finally, any testimony or evidence that is provided as part of tonight's hearing. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Much. Ms. Keefe?
All right, Mr. Chair, members of the board, our last case this evening involves a subject site that is 3 acres in size and located in the Hinkin Valley Estate Re-subdivision. It is located in far western Wildwood, just off of Highway 100. The subject lot has 623 feet of width at its front building line along Hinkin Valley Estates Drive, which is a privately maintained roadway by the HOA. So you can see it has a significant curve here, and this is the lot's front building line. The lot is zoned non-urban residence district, which does require a 50-foot front yard setback, a 30-foot side and rear yard setback, and also This lot is governed by the Natural Resource Protection Standards, which do protect a significant portion of this lot, 94% of it, in fact, or 2.8 acres. There is a single family that was constructed on this lot with, in 2007 with 4,000 square feet of gross living area. The request this evening is to allow the construction of a 3-car garage, which encroaches into the 25-foot foundation setback area from the final resource protection line or the natural resource protection area. No disturbance is requested to the 100% protected portion of the lot, which is everything outside of this dotted line here. So this is all 100% protected, and the proposed garage is in between the final resource protection line and the foundation setback line. The placement of the garage is where the attached garage is currently situated upon the existing dwelling, and it is served by the driveway here. 2 stories are planned for this proposed garage, with the 2nd story housing having a finished area for use by the petitioners. This is looking northeast at the dwelling. This is looking northwest at Hankin Valley Estates Drive. And this is looking southeast. This is looking northwest. And then this is the other side of the dwelling looking northeast. And this is looking northeast as well. This is the area of the proposed garage, or rather this area here. This is looking northeast. This is looking northwest behind the dwelling. This is looking southwest from the area of the proposed garage. And this is just slightly more south. This is looking over the front yard of the petitioner's dwelling at the circular driveway. There has been 3 written comments received in support of the request from other neighbors in the same subdivision. There have been 5 variances in the subdivision that have been granted relating to natural resource protection area adjustments. And that concludes my presentation. Do the board members have any questions of the department at this time?
Actually, I do have a quick question. So I didn't realize there was a setbacks on natural resource protection lines. What's the rationale for a 25-foot setbacks for foundations?
Yeah, so the foundation setback has to do with buildings generally.
Sure.
So petitioners can typically build swimming pools and other types of improvements that are less permanent in nature. But I believe the idea is to prevent disturbance to the protected area itself.
Okay, but in this particular case, for them to build anything, they're going to be in the setback area, because it looks like that line is, they almost have no options to build anything.
In that particular location.
Yeah, because when I look at the 25-foot setback, there's not a whole lot of room in there.
Yep, that is correct. There is a pretty substantial protected area upon this lot.
Right, got it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Keefe. At this time, will the petitioner please come forward, state his or her name, address, and relationship to the property, and we'll get you sworn in by the court reporter.
Hello, my name is Tyrone Anderson. I am the general contractor for my client, the Davis family. My address is 1782 Edgebriar Lane. What brought us here today was that,
Just a moment, we'll get you sworn in, Mr. Emerson.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
yes,
Mr. Emerson, if you could please explain the nature of the request, the hardship or practical difficulty necessitating the variance. As a reminder, you have 15 minutes to present inclusive of the board's questions, unless the chair allows additional time.
yes. So upon submitting the building application for the property, it was determined that the setback line it was recommended that it would be moved 24 inches for encroachment reasons, to make sure that we didn't encroach on that natural resource protection area while building the property. Upon further review, it was determined that that would be unnecessary and that we would still need the variance to build on the proposed location. However, we would not need to move the setback line 24 inches.
And as Mr. Sprunger discussed, any other options considered?
No, this was really the design plan that the homeowner had their heart set on. So there was no changes to the plan made just yet.
Yeah. Any questions, comments? Okay, thank you, Mr. Emerson.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Any other speakers in the audience that may want to speak in favor or opposition to this request, Ms. Keefe?
Mr. Chair, I have no speakers cards and we have no attendees left online.
Anybody like to hear the oral presentation of the department's report? Seeing none. Any final comments from the department?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair and members of the board, the Department of Planning is supporting this particular variance. As Ms. Keefe identified in her presentation of slides, approximately 92% of the site or 94% of the site is in protection. And therefore, the only areas that are available is approximately 8,600 square feet, of which about 4,000 square feet is already occupied by the single family dwelling. I think an important point too that the department used in its recommendation, its favorable recommendation, was the fact that the actual protected area of the lot will remain unchanged. So tonight, again, the department is recommending the board consider this request favorably. If there are any questions of the department, Ms. Keefe and I would be glad to answer them at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Unich. Any other final comments from the board? All right, this time we will close the proceeding for a vote. Can I have a motion to approve, to deny, or approve with conditions?
I'll make a motion to, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Mr. Morris. Can you state that again, please?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Morris, how do you vote?
Approve.
Mr. Lux?
Approve.
Mr. Lee?
Approve.
Mr. Sprunger?
Approve.
And I approve as well. Congratulations, your variance is approved. Thank you. I believe that brings us to a few items of business on tonight's agenda. The first is to approve the minutes of the board's January 15th, 2026 meeting. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
No motion to approve.
Second,
I'll second.
Mr. Morris,
Approve.
Mr. Lux, approve, Mr. Lee,
Approve.
Mr. Sprunger,
Approve.
and I approve the minutes as well. And the last item of business is the election of officers. And I'm supposed to instruct the department to present. Please present.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, every year, this board does hold elections for its officer positions. Last year, we eliminated the secretary position. So now we just have chair and vice chair. I have received interest from both of the those holding these positions that they would like to continue to do so. However, at this time, if there are any other interested parties or nominations from the floor, those can certainly be accepted as well. Thank you.
Intentional silence.
Yes.
Well, if you would like,
Why would not?
if you would like, you can make a motion to accept them both as a slate, or you can divide it into two separate motions to consider each one individually.
I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the slate with my complete and utter conviction in their favor.
And Mr. Chair, that slate would be Mr. Frank as chair and Mr. Lux as vice chair.
Mr. Sprunger.
Nope.
Mr. Sprunger as vice chair.
Oh, I almost got in.
Denied again. So do we have a second to keep the slate?
I'll second that.
Mr. Morris, how do you vote? Approve. Mr. Lux?
Approve.
Mr. Lee?
Approve.
Mr. Sprunger? Approve. And I approve as well. So the slate, as we're calling it, will remain the same for this term. Thank you. Any other items to mention?
Thank you very much for your service. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Please consider this meeting adjourned.